Good day to you all. I'm Zyril Nanwal, and today we are going to be talking about the circulatory system and how it works, and the different factors involved in this organ system. So the circulatory system is an organ system that mainly focuses on the distribution of oxygen throughout the body with the help of the connective tissue called blood and other epithelial tissues involved in the process. The circulatory system is comprised of the heart, the blood, and the blood vessels. The heart is an organ made up of cardiac muscles which pumps the blood throughout the body through blood vessels. The blood is a connective tissue that carries oxygen and other nutrients and distributes them to other organ systems and body parts. The blood vessel is the pathway of the blood which also helps in the distribution and transportation of blood throughout the body. There are three different types of blood vessels throughout the body. First is the artery, which carries blood away from the heart. Aorta is the biggest artery and is directly connected to the heart. Capillaries are where distribution of oxygen and collection of CO2 occurs, and veins carry blood back to the heart. The pathway of the blood is indicated by the arrows in the figure. The artery receives the greatest blood pressure due to it being directly connected to the heart, therefore receiving directly the full power of the force exerted by the pumped blood, and the vena cavas receiving the least amount of blood pressure due to it being the last step of the circulatory cycle. The rankings for the blood pressure are as follows. The explanation for the blood pressure rankings could be explained in this equation. In this equation, P refers to the change in pressure, Q is the flow of blood in the blood vessels, and R is the resistance of the smaller blood vessels. In resistance, it can also be taken into consideration the density and viscosity of blood and the diameter of the blood vessel. When the density and viscosity of blood increases, it indicates an increase in resistance, which shows an increase in blood pressure. But when viscosity and density decreases, resistance also decreases, which indicate low blood pressure. When diameter increases, resistance decreases, which would indicate low blood pressure. But when diameter of the blood vessel decreases, resistance to flow would increase, therefore also increasing the blood pressure. The relationship of viscosity and density of blood with resistance is directly proportional, while the diameter and the resistance are inversely proportional. Increase in heart rate does not affect our blood pressure due to the blood vessels dilating, which allows blood to flow easily. But an increase in blood volume means an increased pressure exerted on the blood vessels, thus increasing blood pressure. There are 5 different hormones that affect blood pressure. First is the antidiuretic hormone, then the angiotensin, aldosterone, epinephrine, and atrial natriuretic peptide. The antidiuretic hormone, the angiotensin, aldosterone, and epinephrine increase blood pressure, while the atrial natriuretic peptide decreases blood pressure. You may pause the video to read about the additional information and other functions of the hormones. Regulation of blood pressure is very important to prevent various circulatory and cardiovascular problems. Increase in blood pressure causes a strain in the walls of the artery and the heart, which causes it to thicken, making the blood vessel and the heart narrower and less flexible, which increases the chances of the heart and the artery to be blocked, which can lead to problems like heart attack, stroke, kidney problems, or dementia. In rare cases, the continuous strain on the artery and the heart causes its walls to be weaker. Similar to a balloon, after a constant input of air and pressure, continues to expand until it reaches a point where it can no longer expand and eventually bursts. The artery also behaves the same way. Constant strain on the blood vessel causes it to expand and increase its diameter until it can no longer expand and would eventually burst, which could lead to a stroke or a heart attack, which could also lead to cerebral hemorrhage if it occurs in the arteries in the brain. Thank you for listening. If you have questions related to this topic, please refer to other videos to know more about the circulatory system.